Welcome, everybody. We're starting today with two stories that are going to upset a bunch of people in my audience, and that's okay. One is about Jordan Peterson, which we will get to. The first is about Whoopi Goldberg. Many of you wrote to me about Whoopi Goldberg's statements on The View, where she is one of a number of co-hosts, about the Holocaust and race and Jewish people. And as I was preparing a story about this, news broke that Whoopi Goldberg indeed has now been suspended for 2 weeks by The View because of her comments about the Holocaust. Now, I'm just going to give you my interpretation of what she said, and I'm going to explain to you why what she said is so problematic. And what the main thrust of what Whoopi said on The View is that the Holocaust is not about race, or was not about race. And there's really 2 or 3 different layers of confusion here, which I'm going to try to pick apart. And there's a ton of people who still don't understand the concept of Judaism as a race, saying, well, hold on, but Judaism's a religion, it's not really a race. And the part that makes this segment difficult is that, unfortunately, I mean, listen, I expect out and out anti-Semitism from the right. I get it all the time. Soros funds you, go back to Israel, a place I've been once and have no real connection to. All these different things. I expect that from the right. But on the left, there's a different thing that goes on. And we saw it with the Women's March, where, for example, the Women's March from several years ago now, leadership didn't want Jewish women involved on the board because Jewish women were seen as privileged whites rather than a historically discriminated minority group. And inbuilt in that are all sorts of biases and prejudices that only reinforce anti-Semitic tropes. And so the left has a problem with this too. I don't care if you don't like hearing that. I'm going to call it out on both sides. So let's just jump into the clip. And I'm going to try, rather than pre-explain, let's just look at this piece by piece. Okay, let's take a look.
Well, also, if you're going to do this, then let's be truthful about it, because the Holocaust isn't about race. No, it's not about race.
No, it's about
a different race. But it's not about race. It's not about race.
What is it about?
Because it's about man's inhumanity to man. That's what it's about.
But it's about white supremacy. It's
Well,
about
but
going
it's not-
after
it's
Jews
not about
and
race.
gypsies
It's
and
But these are 2
Romans.
white groups of people.
Well, they
How
would
do we
after black
They
people
just see
too.
them as white men.
And they were
But you're
after
missing the
homosexuals.
point. You're
Yeah.
missing the point.
Yeah.
The minute you turn it into race, it goes down this alley. Let's talk about it for what it is. It's how people treat each other. It's a problem. It doesn't matter if you're black or white, because black, white, Jews,
And of course, it does matter if the people carrying out the Holocaust believe they're doing it along racial lines because they see Jews as a different race, which we will get to.
it's how everybody eats each other. So is it, if you're uncomfortable, if you hear about mouse, should you be worried? Should your child say, oh my God,
Okay. And then in another clip, again, she says, the Holocaust is white people doing stuff to white people.
And a Tennessee school pulled the graphic novel Mouse out of their lessons on the Holocaust because it contained some nudity and some bad language. Personally, I'm shocked because, given the story of Mouse, I'm surprised that that's what made you uncomfortable, the fact that there was some nudity. And I mean, it's about the Holocaust, the killing of 6 million people, but that didn't bother you. But the naked
I'm not sure
thing.
that they don't use the naked part as a kind of a canard to throw you off from the fact that they don't
Maybe.
like history that makes white people look bad.
Well, this is white people doing it to white people.
Yeah.
So there is that same idea, white people doing it to white people. So here's the thing. First of all, there's this really funny thing when it comes to Judaism, where you've got the anti-Semitic right and white nationalists who say Jews are not white. Jews are a different race. I've had Richard Spencer, the white nationalist, tell me Jews are not European. They're not what he is, right? Jews definitely are not white. Among some on the left, you have the view that Jews are white with the white privilege that comes with being white. Jews are not minorities. They're just privileged white people. And of course, this is where the concept of white passing comes up. And the truth is that while Ashkenazi Jews are absolutely white passing, There's lots of other Jews, Sephardic Jews, Mizrahi Jews who are not white passing, but that's not even really what this is about. There's not one right answer, but there kind of is. If you take the view that we're all one race, there is no race, right? Like that's a view that some people take now. There's academic circles where we're all just the human race. Okay. If that's the case, then this is all meaningless, right? Like if the view we're taking is there's race is not a thing, ethnicity is not a thing, then there's no black people and there's no white people and there's fine. If we accept that there are racial and ethnic groups, okay, right? So like if that's a conversation, if we want to talk about humans in that context, Jews are an ethnic group. When I do my ancestry or 23andMe or whatever, it says, oh, your ethnicity is 100% Ashkenazi Jewish. If I convert to Christianity religiously, I'm still 100% Ashkenazi Jewish. And the origin of this confusion is that Jews are an ethno-religious group. Now, sometimes people like to say that's a special pleading. There's no other ethno-religious group. It's made up. No, actually, there's tons of ethno-religious groups. You're just not familiar with them. The Copts in Egypt are an ethno-religious group. The Yazidi people of Iraq are an ethno-religious group, which means what? Yazidi Iraqis are an ethnic group. And I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. Yazidism or Yazidism is also a religion. You can quit being a religious Yazidi. You would still be ethnically Yazidi. You might not have heard of that. And so sometimes people say, no, this is something that's it only exists with Jews. It doesn't. That's not true. Separately, there are also sort of bad faith people who pretend not to understand this, who just like to attack Jews as privileged and not worthy of our consideration, despite being at the top. When you look at religiously based hate crimes in the United States, Jews are always either at the top or almost there in terms of being the victims of religiously oriented hate crimes. And sometimes the perceived whiteness of Ashkenazi Jews is used as a means to write off anti-Semitism. And it was very ugly. It was done in a very ugly way with the Women's March of a couple years ago. So that is Whoopi Goldberg is just wrong. Now, in terms of her being suspended, I just don't know. With all of these every time we talk about suspensions, I have no idea what's appropriate or what's not. What I want to also mention is the suspension of Whoopi Goldberg is furthering anti-Semitic tropes, and you can probably imagine why. Whoopi Goldberg suspended for her comments about the Holocaust is proof to those who want to talk about Jewish control of media to say the Jews got her. The Jews who control Hollywood and control The View, they got Whoopi Goldberg. And it just so I'm not saying the suspension is or isn't appropriate, but for people who want, when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And so many of the same people who liked Whoopi's comments are now saying her suspension is proof of that conspiracy of Jews to control Hollywood, which we've talked about many times before. So another one of these ugly incidents, and I'm curious to hear what you think about it. One of our longtime sponsors is Monk Pack, giving you 20% off Monk Pack's keto nut and seed bars, which taste just like your favorite sweet snacks, but without the guilt, because they have only 1 gram of sugar, 2 to 3 net carbs, and 150 calories. A great snack if you're doing keto, if you're doing low carb, and if you just want a low sugar snack. I love the Monk Pack nut and seed bars. Great balance of sweet and salty, satisfyingly crunchy, soft and chewy. Because I like these so much, I use Monk Pack's subscription feature, sends them straight to my house on a regular basis, and saves me 10%. If you don't love Monk Pack as much as I do, they will refund you all your money. I think there's a really good chance Monk Pack nut and seed bars become your favorite go-to snack. Monk Pack is giving you 20% off your first order. Go to monkpack.com and enter the code PACMAN at checkout.